we've seen some good from Raekwon. We've seen other times where it appears to be maybe a step slow, which please tell us if that's unfair. But have there been instances where maybe either speed or instincts haven't been quite what you want? And I know he's young, obviously, and that's a factor.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. Honestly, you're going to probably think I'm crazy here, and sometimes he's too fast in a reactionary sense. Like sometimes he reacts to things too quick, and I think he gets himself out of position sometimes. Like I spend a lot of time, I feel like, talking to Raekwon about just slowing down. Like he sees one thing and he's gone, so sometimes he overreacts to play action passes, or even in the run game, he like sees a run break and he starts going 100 miles an hour to go get there, and then when it cuts back, he's kind of overruns things and those sort of things. So, I actually a lot of times try to tell him not necessarily obviously slow down from in terms of running factor, but just slow down in his reads a little bit and give him that half a step to like in diagnosing and things like that. I mean, he was actually he was very proud the other day. I know you guys saw the whatever night that the Houston game was on, and Miller broke that 97-yard run, and he was talking about how he caught him in the one in our game. So he was very proud of himself for that. So, no, I don't, again, some of the stuff that he's a rookie. I treat him as such. He probably doesn't like that. But I think with him, just some of the things he just hasn't seen, as he's building that database of plays and things that he's seeing more and more. Situations that he maybe hasn't been put into before. As he builds that experience under his belt, I think he's getting better and better. His production's gone up for us from a tackle standpoint in the last month or so. So I think he's trending in the right direction, and I don't think his physical ability is going to hold him back from doing the things we're going to ask him to do.
Some players, when they don't have things go their way, like Raekwon, could get a little down on themselves. He seems very, very uber confident about himself.
Yeah.
And himself. How much does it help?
Yeah, obviously, he wants to get better, and I think he's just taking it. He's very coachable, so I think everything, even if he makes a mistake or something happens, it's and you get in his ear about it, and Frank's with him all the time. Just he takes it as a learning experience. It's not like, oh man, I can't do this. It's like, okay, hey, that's how you respond to this situation or this play or whatever it is, and. I don't know what his numbers are. He's had a decent amount of production for us, and we have about, Kiko's got a bunch of tackles. There's about 4 or 5 other guys that have, are grouped in a bunch of tackles together between TJ and Raekwon and Bake and Mink and all those guys. So I mean, he's had some production for us. I don't see any reason to be discouraged about him. I don't think he feels that way either.
How with that third 9 scramble play, what happened with Luck and break and contain?
At the end of the game last week? Yeah, I mean, we had him in the grasp. He got out. I don't know what happened. Yeah, we were in his zone coverage, and we kind of bluffed out into his zone coverage, and we had it matched up. Obviously, we caused him to hold the ball for a little bit. He didn't have his first read. He pulled it down. We had a chance to obviously get him on the ground in the sack situation. Just sometimes when you're in zone coverage and the play gets extended or a quarterback gets out of the pocket to some extent, like trying to find the matchups. Now at that point it becomes you have to match up a guy in your zone, right? You're in a zone, you're trying to hold your area, but now once the play breaks down and the routes are now converting into other things, everyone has to try to grab on, and sometimes it's just, the guy kind of slipped out in his zone. We had 2 guys in the same zone, and as luck broke out, the one guy kind of drifted behind the backside there. So, obviously that play, you're playing a coverage, you're just, designing. We accomplished what we wanted with the call. We got him to hold it. He didn't have his first look. The rush had a chance to get there. We got to finish that and get him on the ground. Once it starts becoming a broken play, now there's a little bit of chaos trying to match up, and find the bodies in your zone. And we had 2 guys in one zone, so we grabbed one of them, and the other guy kind of leaked back through, and we weren't able to latch onto him. So, it's frustrating, obviously, but we have to get him down when we have a chance to get him down. I mean, he's having, obviously they've had a lot of success protecting the quarterback, and when you had chances to put him on the ground, we got to take advantage of him. We did a pretty good job rushing him most of the game and got after him a little bit, but we had to finish that play there.
Branch told us, Branch told us that he's been held all year and never gets involved.
Yeah, Branch, he's a colorful man. Is there? Yeah, I don't know. Probably, you get frustrated. Again, obviously, we put a lot in our front and having those guys rush and I think probably there's a little bit of frustration from maybe just from the production totals from a sack point of view, setting in a little bit, and everyone gets held. I'm sure he's been held a bunch, but that's just part of the game. Is no use complain about it. Everyone gets held, and it can get frustrating for him. Again, I know he's been working hard. Branchy's been doing everything we ask him to do. I thought he's rushed a lot better this year than maybe even last year. He's been very productive in terms of just performing as a rusher. Just hasn't had the finishing thing. So I'm sure there's a little frustration with that. But I try not to spend a lot of time worrying about penalty calls.
If I told you that you would have 18 sacks at this point in the season, your response would be what?
I don't know. I wouldn't have a response. Again, I don't try not to get hung up on like that stuff. Every statistic's situational. There's probably a lot of stats I'd like to look different right now than they do. So,
that's a unit where you've got a lot of accomplished players, a
yeah,
lot of salaries, and you're built.
Salary. I don't pay salaries. Yeah, we're built for that. Again, I think, and I'm not, trying to make excuses. Those guys get a lot of attention, which I think probably one of the most underrated injuries for us this year has been Will Hayes. Having such an effective interior pass rusher, to take some of that attention off the edge. A lot of our pass rush is on the edge, and they're getting chipped. Cam gets chipped every play. It's just like we just kind of account for it now and have to try to build in stuff to help them deal with those things. So. Again, I try not to get caught in sack totals. If you probably interviewed Chris Kasurek, he probably gets more frustrated about that than I do. For us, the pass rush is about affecting the passer, affecting the play. We feel like if teams are focusing attention on chipping guys and keeping guys in to protect, then that's cutting down on players that are out in the route and those sort of things. So try to look at it as just more how it affects the game, as worried about focusing on straight sack totals. So those guys have been effective. I really do, especially in the last probably 3-4 weeks. Production's gone up. Obviously, Cam had one last week and Robert had one that was taken away with the penalty, and then Robert had a couple sacks against Green Bay and Cam had a couple sacks the week before against New York. So the production started to show, a little bit. So that's been positive, but I think they've all been affecting the passing game kind of the way we need them to. So we just got to keep going that way with it.
So you mentioned the last couple of weeks with a couple of guys. Robert Quinn for the season, from the beginning. Meeting expectations, has to do better to meet expectations. Where is he at?
Yeah, I think he's about what we expected. I think probably I think he started out pretty hot and kind of hit a little dull. Kind of got, they'll get banged up. I think. I've noticed just a difference in him physically in the last probably 3 weeks, kind of the bye week, obviously, and even the week before that, just kind of coming back. I think he's been kind of healthier the last 3 weeks or so. So I see him just kind of moving around lately, like he was earlier in the season. So that's been encouraging. Like I said, the production's been coming. He had the one taken away. He should have had about 4 or 5 sacks in the last. He had he's had 3.5 sacks in the last couple of weeks, I think, or something like that. I don't know. And he had one taken away last week. So I think he was a little slowed down kind of the middle part of the season. And I think he's kind of coming back to where we want him to be, moving around. So I'm excited to see him kind of move forward this next 4 or 5 weeks, so we can get him going. He's a guy that's always gotten sacks in bunches. He's always gotten sacks where he gets on a roll and he gets 3 a game, he gets 2 the next game, gets 3 a game, and you look up in your numbers and you go, man, he had a great season. He's always been that guy. He gets shut out for 3 weeks and all of a sudden he goes on a tear and he's unstoppable. So, again, hoping that we're facing down that as we get towards the end of the season here, because I think physically he looks like he's getting back to where he was and moving the way and bending the way he was early in the year. So he's a guy that's capable of wrecking a game at any moment. So we're hoping that maybe this is the week for it.
Matt, a 2-part question regarding takeaways.
Uh-huh.
Your numbers are up.
Okay,
What do you
good.
attribute that to? Does it go back to maybe a philosophy you instilled in the summer, or you know, whatever brought that about? And secondly, I wanted to ask you about Howard and his ability to get not just opportunities at interceptions, but to get those to translate to actual interceptions, and not just balls that, you know, fly off his fingertips.
Yeah, you got to catch the ones that come to you. It's the start. You know, overall, it's been obviously something, you know, we didn't do a great job of last year, the turnovers and getting our hands on balls. So we've obviously been emphasizing it. And again, for us, it just starts with getting to the ball, like population of the ball. Like, we want hats around the ball, and, you know, good things happen, you know, when that occurs, you know. And you know, we had the forced fumble last week where you know, Bake and Raekwon did a nice vice tackle and physical, and then the ball pops out and TJ's there getting to the ball to recover it. And you know, we had another one on the ground on Cam's sack that we didn't get to, that we had a chance to kind of squirt it out. So, but we just, again, you can talk about whether it's randomness or anything else, but for us, the more people we get to the ball, the more times we're attacking it. If the ball's in the air, we have more chances to get on it. If the ball's on the ground, we got more guys around to do it, you know, all those sort of things. So I think it's a philosophy part of just getting to the ball, and, you know, having 11 guys around the ball at all times, and everyone turning and running, and good things are going to happen when you do that. So, I mean, just from a philosophical standpoint, I think that's probably as close as you can get. I mean, again, they don't throw us the ball, to some extent, you know. So, X, yeah, you know, he's been putting himself in a good spot. I mean, yeah, I mean, the final part of getting turnovers is catching the ball when it's thrown to you. You know, he made 2 pretty nice catches. I mean, he's got good ball skills. I don't think that's unusual for him, but you know, it was cool for me to see with those, like, he was different techniques. We were in man on the first one. The second one, he was kind of overlapping in his zone. Something we worked a little bit on during the week. So it was kind of cool for me to see him get those 2 with 2 different techniques, 2 different calls, you know what I mean, and execute them both. So yeah, he's got good ball skills. So when he is in position, when he does play good technique, and when he puts himself in a good position, and the ball's thrown, he's got a pretty good chance to come down with it, because he's got pretty good hands and pretty good ball skills. So you know, I wouldn't say it's the finishing part with him as much as getting in the right spot and playing the right technique. So if he's there and the ball comes his way, he's got a pretty good shot to finish that play usually.
Matt Adam earlier this week said kind of felt it was a shitty feeling knowing that you could have had the Colts game,
that?
you could have had the Bengals game,
Yeah.
How the record would be if you had those 2 games. For you, how do you feel about those 2 games and the results from them?
Shitty? Is that? Yeah, you know, I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. You know, I mean, you can't play that game. Yeah, obviously, like, you know, most recently, I mean, Cincinnati feels like a long time ago. It was a disappointing loss. You have a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. You feel like you should win that game, and the way it went down, and we had opportunities. You know, I'll speak for our side of the ball. You know, to make some of those plays, and I mean, it's crazy. You know, we went through the film on Monday, and it's just talk about, you know, hey, our margin for error is not very big on all those things. You know, and obviously everyone sees the last play on the 3rd and 9, but, you know, the drive before that, we had about 2 or 3 opportunities to end a drive. You know, and it's one guy's in a technique that's just a little bit off, or takes a bad angle, and, you know, stuff like that. So that's obviously frustrating, and it is disappointing. You know, felt like we had a pretty good game plan, and that was a pretty hot offense coming into things, and guys played hard and got after it, and there was good energy and accomplished a lot of good things. So it was kind of frustrating to feel like, man, we had a good thing going and let it slip away. But I mean, man, I'll have time for that after the season. You know, I mean, we got another game coming up here in 3 days, and we got to move on to Buffalo, and we'll feel worse if we don't get this one done. So it's frustrating, obviously, from a big picture standpoint, but usually kind of in the moment and in season, you don't have time to reflect too much. You come in Monday and you feel like crap, and you'll watch the tape and figure out what happened and fix it and move on and try to get the next one. So that's where we're at.
I want to ask you about, you guys have had success against rookie quarterbacks. Obviously, they're all in your division.
Yeah, played a lot of them.
Is the key, I don't want to get into game plan, but with rookie quarterbacks, is it about showing them something early and then switching it on them, or just making them think overall?
It depends, I think. You know, I mean, they're all different, obviously. You know, not just rookies. Every quarterback has different strengths and weakness, skill sets. But, yeah, you know, obviously with rookies, you try to just like our rookies, like we just talked about Raekwon earlier, like the stuff he hasn't seen or just gone through it, and it's a new experience for him, a new, visual thing that he hasn't done or matched up or whatever. So yeah, same thing with rookie quarterbacks. I think you try to maybe give them some stuff that you haven't shown, or give them different looks, or yeah, try to switch the picture on them at the last minute. Obviously, in our division, you got a guy like Brady. It's kind of hard to do some stuff with, you change the picture. He sees it.
If you switch the picture on Brady?
Well, it depends. I mean, every now and then maybe you get him, but usually he goes, okay, that's what you're doing. And, or it takes him one time and he sees it and then he registers it for the next time you try to do that. So, again, yeah, there's part of that element of trying to just show them different things, whether it's different things that we've shown before in the past, now it's a different twist to it, or just disguise one thing and move last minute and try to just slow that clock down. I mean, Josh has he's got a big arm, and he can make all the throws. So if you let him sit back there and get comfortable, I mean, he can drive the ball. I mean, he's pretty impressive from a physical standpoint, and then obviously getting outside the pocket. So, and it ties in with some of the questions, about our rush, trying to, sometimes with the coverage elements and disguising those sort of things, you're trying to just make him hold it for that half a second extra long, or half a second longer to try to get that rush there. If he has a clear picture and can pipe it in there, obviously he can make some throws, but now all of a sudden he's not sure about it, and then he has to pull it down, and now we get some pressure there and those sort of things. So, I mean, in general, that's kind of obviously what you try to do with anybody, but you try to test a rookie quarterback out and see kind of where his capacity is for reading coverages and reading defenses and reading pressures and kind of see how we can handle that. So we'll try to do the same this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.